Well, hello subscribers and visitors to my YouTube channel. This is Sandy and I am Suburban Homesteader Wyoming. And I've been telling everybody this winter / Arizona because we are down in Arizona this winter. Today is how cheap can I live? And every Wednesday I give you ideas of how I save money, how cheap I can live. And living in two places gives me a whole new perspective. Today I have 8 everyday items that you should have, or you probably have, in your home. And I'm going to tell you different things you can use those for that you may not have thought about. That you have them anyway, so why buy other products when you already have these 8 things in your house someplace. So let's get started. So we're in the kitchen, and what are a few things that in the kitchen you can use for so many different things instead of buying individual products? So our first thing we're going to look at is coffee filters. And of course you make coffee, filters it. But really, some really interesting things that you can do with coffee filters. You can cover food in the microwave. So you have it on the plate, things splatter. When you're melting butter, it splatters. So you can lay coffee filters on top of them. It's not going to affect the heat transfer, and nothing's going to splatter all over your microwave. One less thing to clean up. Sometimes people have candlelight services. The candle can go through here. Anything that drips will go into the coffee filter instead of onto your hand. Any wax that may be hot. If you're going to store your cast iron for very long, put some coffee filters in the center of the cast iron, and it will absorb any moisture so your cast iron won't rust at all. Dust accumulates on your iPad, on your laptop, on your television. You can just take a coffee filter and just rub it right off, and the dust will cling to the coffee filter. But the nice thing about a coffee filter, it doesn't leave any particles, cloth particles, or it doesn't even build up. It'll just pick it up and you won't have any dust on those surfaces. You can also clean glass. So if you're cleaning your windows, you're cleaning your mirrors, you're spraying your Windex or whatever you're using, your vinegar, anything you're using, and then you can use these to wipe it off. Spray oil. Now this is just some Pam. My mom gave it to me. And I'm going to make a door, not squeak. This also works on like bike chains. Other things that may start to squeak that you would use a WD-40. You don't have any WD-40 at your house. Use your spray vegetable oil or coconut oil. It just saves you one less thing. A lot of times when I'm making pasta, I'll put a little oil in the water so that the pasta won't stick. You can spray vegetable oil or coconut oil on the surface of that water when you're making pasta or rice, and it will help it not to ever stick. If you're going to grate cheese, why not spray a little vegetable oil on this cheese grater first? Not a lot, just a little, and it will really help when you're grating that cheese. You can put it on your grill. It will help clean your barbecue grill. If you've gone on a trip and you've gone through some place and there's like bugs all over that type of grill, you can spray your vegetable oil, your cooking oil, and wait just a minute or two and then wipe it off much easier. Because sometimes those bugs are smashed onto that grill. And then you've driven so they started to dry. So you spray it on, wait a little bit, and then you can just wipe it off. Another thing that it will help with outside is like your lawnmower. Underneath your lawnmower, before you start the spring season of mowing your lawn, spray it off, let it dry, and then spray the blades and all the underneath, and then that grass clippings won't adhere to it like they would otherwise. Fishing, you can spray this on your line and it will cast way farther because it's very free flowing then. One last tip I would do, a lot of times you're making things, you have leftovers, or you're making a dish and you're taking it someplace and you're putting it in plastic. If you spray the plastic container with a layer of vegetable oil spray, and then you're putting things in there, one, they won't stick, but if it's anything that has to do with tomatoes, where the tomato sauce or the tomatoes themselves can discolor the plastic, spray this in first and it gives it a layer, and that tomato sauce won't go into your plastic. One last thing in the kitchen today, baking soda. And this is just a type that I found when we got down to Arizona. We don't have this in Wyoming, or I haven't ever seen it before anyway. But baking soda is an all-around cleaner. But you may not have thought about cleaning your fruits and vegetables with it. You fill your sink up, put a couple tablespoons of baking soda in the water, and then when you clean your vegetables or your fruit, lots more residue will come off and you will have cleaner fruits and vegetables. You can put it down your drain. I put a cup of baking soda down my drain, a cup of vinegar, and it will start to bubble because they're reacting to each other. Let them react a little bit and then pour a quart of boiling water down your drain to free anything that's clogging your drain. When you're doing dishes, a lot of times the last few things that you're doing are greasy. And you save those for the end because you don't want that grease on any of your other stuff. By putting 2 tablespoons, if you want to clean out your microwave, things splatter. You haven't put the coffee filters on and it's splattering all over the place. So in a coffee cup, put 2 tablespoons of baking soda, a cup of water, and then microwave it for about 2 to 3 minutes. Let it sit in there for a little bit because that cup was going to be hot. But then when you take it out, you'll be able to just wipe everything off. I have a teapot. The calcium builds up in that teapot. And so how do I clean that? And you could do this for cleaning a coffee pot also. Is I put a cup of vinegar in there, 2 tablespoons of baking soda, and then fill it up with water and bring it to a boil. And I just let it boil for a little bit, and I can pour it out and I can clean anything that's loose that's left in there. But I like to collect books, and I love old antique books. But sometimes books have this weird, musty, weird smell that only books have. So what you do is you take a paper bag, put the book in, and then to that you're going to put 2 tablespoons of baking soda in the sack. You don't have to sprinkle it on the book, just put it in the sack. Close it up and let it sit for a couple weeks. And the baking soda will absorb all that moisture, all that smell. I buy 15 different products when you can have just a few products that you're going to have anyway in your kitchen to do all those things. Now all the time we have tubes. This is a toilet paper tube. But we also have tubes that are from our paper towels when we have wrapping paper. And what do we do with these instead of throwing them away in the landfill? Now, one of the things that I think is a great idea with this is when you have extension cords, you can fold them back and forth so they end up being about 6 inches long and slide them through the tube. And then it's easy to store, it's easy to get to, you can just grab it, it's not all tangled up. It's a great thing to do. Now I like to also flatten these. And then when we're going someplace and I need to slide forks or a knife or something in there, I can do that. If you have one from the paper towels, the entire knife can slide in there. And you're not worried because I can just put some tape on here, and you can use packing tape or duct tape, and it seals it. And so that point is not gonna have somebody accidentally stabbed with it or cut something that you're carrying. It's just an easy thing to do. I also have used these as plant guards. I planted my tomato, it's a seedling, and I slide this over top of it so that the stem is covered also. I can either put soil in here, or I can just use it as a guard. And later on, when the plant is bigger and more healthy and I don't have to worry about like cutworms, I can just slice this and take it off. But there have been times that I've used this type or larger ones, because a lot of times you can get thicker ones when you have wrapping paper. And I put it around, say, my tomatoes, and I put soil inside there. And because the stem of a tomato will send out roots if it has contact with the soil, it gives me more root system. And then I'll even pile, as the plant gets bigger, pile it around there, and this will just biodegrade. The ones that are from paper towels, they're longer, and they are perfect to wrap your napkins, your cloth napkins or linens around, so that there's never a crease. And so you just save them, you have your Christmas napkins, and after you've laundered them after Christmas, you can just simply wrap them around and place them in the drawer. And that way, when you're ready to use them again, there's no folded lines. It's perfectly just how you took them out of the dryer or after you've ironed them. But another thing to do with tubes is documents, kids' artwork. Anything that you don't want to have wrinkled, you can simply roll them up tightly and slide them in the tube. And it's a great way because you can write on the tube what's inside. We throw these away all the time. So why throw them away? You can actually extend your vacuum with a tube. So you have to reach way up and get up by the balances of a window. Either use one from wrapping paper, or if you don't need it that long, use one from paper towels, and you can just attach it onto your vacuum hose. I've also seen in greenhouses, they've used these or the longer ones, and they put double-sided tape on them to trap flies and gnats in greenhouses. Carpets, scraps, because when you have carpet laid, you always have extra carpet that they leave with you. Or maybe you're looking to do new carpet and you're getting those samples, save those. You can put them underneath of the legs of furniture, and that way they can easily slide. There's no scraping up of your floor, and you can just move it yourself instead of having to have people help you, because it just slides very easily. You could make it for a yoga mat. You can cut them and have them as car mats when you need to replace the mats that you have in your cars now. In the garden, there's a couple things you can do with scraps of carpet. If you have strips, you can lay them down, and when you bend down, it saves your knees. You can also use old carpet. When, say, you're replacing the carpet in your house, you can do strips and put those as pathways, and the weeds and the grasses have a much harder time coming through the carpet, and it will last for years and years and years. Put a couple pieces of carpet in your trunk. If you live up in the north and you need some traction to get out of some snow, you may not have some wood to use it, but you can slip those pieces of carpet underneath your wheels to help you back up or go forward. I'm in a doghouse, so don't throw those scraps of carpet away. Use them. Nylons. Now ladies, you probably have some nylons tucked away in your drawer, even if you don't wear nylons anymore. You're just back in the corner not doing anything. Nylons can do a lot of things. For your husband, maybe he needs to filter some oil, and he can pour the oil right through the nylon, and it will trap any particles in that oil. You can actually buff your shoes to make them look more like new with some nylons. In the garden, I like to tie up plants. I like to make little hammocks for melons and cantaloupes. You can dust under your refrigerator. That's a place to get hard to get in there, but you can put that on the handle of the broom where you can't get the broom underneath there, and just rub it along underneath your refrigerator, and the nylon will collect any dust or other particles that are underneath there. Now I like to save lint, dog hair, for birds and hummingbirds especially to make their nests. And you can stuff a nylon with that dog hair and that lint, hang it up in a tree, and the birds will literally be able to pull it out of there. Another thing, you can store your onions. You put an onion in the bottom of some pantyhose, tie a knot. Put another onion, tie a knot, and then you can hang them in your pantry. Hang some soap on a nylon by your spigot, your water spigot outside, and then when you're done gardening and you need to wash your hands, you can just take that and wash your hands with it. Final thing on How Cheap Can I Live Today is duct tape. Now everybody needs duct tape. It is a lifesaver in so many ways. You should have some in your house, you should have them in your shed, in your car, because you never know when you may need duct tape. Now my cousin Dennis stopped over the other day and he gave me this very interesting book. And it's called Extraordinary Uses for Ordinary Things. And I had already been thinking about this subject anyway, but it goes in categories and it tells you like all the things you can do with hairspray, all the things you can do with hair conditioner. It's just a wealth of knowledge. And I learned all kinds of things to do with duct tape that I never even thought about. Like say you're up skiing and you rip your snowsuit, duct tape. I've seen people make wallets out of duct tape. I've actually seen some really cool artwork done completely with duct tape. But it will actually remove splinters from your fingers because it is so sticky. It will pick up lint from your clothes. If you break a glass in the kitchen, you're sweeping, but if you just take duct tape and just go along in that area, you'll be amazed at how many little tiny pieces of glass your broom did not get. If you need to make your own bumper sticker, you need to say something, make a bumper sticker, use duct tape, because you can remove it later. Duct tape you can use as fly paper. You can just pull a strip, hook it up in your greenhouse, and catch those flies or gnats or anything that's in your greenhouse. You can literally do it in a problem area in your garden. Hook it onto a post and hang it down, and you'll be surprised at how many even flea beetles you catch with that. Now, I like to wrap it around my hand and so that it's the sticky part to the outside, because if you have a problem with flea beetles, which a lot of gardeners do, when a flea beetle is scared, it doesn't jump sideways, it jumps up. And you can literally go along those radishes or any of the plants that have the flea beetles, and you just hover right above them. They jump up, they stick, you throw it away. But duct tape is one of those things that has a million uses. And in this book, I found a whole bunch more. But sometimes you have tools in your garden, and when it's rainy out, even though it's wood, it can get slippery. But just by doing a little bit of duct tape around that handle, it makes it so it's easier to grip. Now, I would like to know what you guys use duct tape with, because I could probably give you 100 different uses. But I'd like you to tell us in the comments so everybody can see all the different things that you use duct tape with. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't pressed that notification and that like button, do that too. That helps me with YouTube. And you get notified every time I have a new video. Now every Wednesday I have How Cheap Can I Live? And these are just around 8 different things that I thought were interesting that you have in your house every day, and you don't have to buy 15 other things to do the same job. Because why do you want to? You have to find a place to store those. Use what you have. And I will see you next Wednesday.